Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and a day that I have been waiting for quite some time has finally arrived, and it is the day that we get to take a look at the second of the Star Ace Toys Ray Harryhausen line, which you can see is the Triceratops 32 centimeter vinyl model. I have been waiting for quite some time to get my eyes on this one after reviewing their initial release, which was the 1 million years BC Allosaurus, which was just absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this one will probably follow in that same trend, or at least I have high hopes that it will. As far as the box art goes, we of course have this really nice image of the Triceratops here, as well as Raquel Welch over here on the right hand side, and then down here 1 million years BC, and a Ray Harryhausen 100 years anniversary series logo over here, and then of course Star Ace up here in the right hand corner. As far as elsewhere on the box, up here on the top, we've got, again, Harryhausen and Triceratops, 1 million years BC. If we spin it to the side, if I can actually get it to move here, we have another image of the Triceratops itself. Again, some of the same images that we had just seen. Really beautifully applied to the box. It just looks super nice. And then if we take a look here on the back, again, just gorgeous artwork all over this box with, of course, Mr. Harryhausen himself over here working on some of his stop-motion products, and then another image of the Triceratops, and again Raquel Welch, as well as information on Star Ace and 1 million years BC, also giving you information in general on the scene where this Triceratops is displayed in the film. And then down here we have some more dinosaurs, as well as the Ceratosaurus, which I believe is the next release from this Star Ace Toys Harryhausen line, and I'm really excited to see that one. I love that Ceratosaurus, so cool and so vintage looking. And then of course we have one other area, which is the side of the box again, which just has the exact same image pretty much that we had just seen on the previous side. So let's go ahead and break this out of its box and take a look at it. So as soon as we open up the box, first of all, we have like a little stand here that says 1 million years BC, and it's kind of like sitting on some stone, very prehistoric looking, very 1 million years BC looking as far as this goes. Beautiful paint apps on that one as well. Definitely psyched about how nice that looks. And then we have the stand for our Raquel Welch figure, which you can see has a very nice earthy area down here with some beautiful vegetation and even more stone and stuff included. Again, giving you that strong caveman type feel, which is exactly what you would want from a 1 million years BC model. And then we have our actual Raquel Welch figure, and it is insanely nice looking, really quite beautifully capturing the overall appearance of Raquel Welch from the film. Again, every aspect of her is really well done on this model. And then you stand her on her base, if I could find the right spot. So there we go. We've got her up on her base and looking super cool. I'm always so unbelievably impressed with how good of a job Star Ace does on not only the dinosaurs, but the actual human figures that go with the dinosaurs, because in the previous set we had Tumok with the Allosaurus, and Tumok looked fantastic. And now, of course, we have Loana, who is played by Raquel Welch here in this set, and she looks just absolutely fantastic, just like Tumok did in the previous set. And then, of course, once we slide everything out of the way, we can bring in the star of the show, which is this absolutely gigantic Triceratops model. It is huge, so much bigger than I expected it to be, which I was really impressed when I had received the Allosaurus, because the Allosaurus was really quite sizable, but I wasn't quite prepared, I would say, for how big this Triceratops would be, because it is definitely a very impressive size, and you can see that here when I pan out here and take the camera out a little bit and take a nice overall look at the entire thing. It is just insanely nice looking. And one of the things straight away that I noticed that I absolutely love about this Triceratops is just how gritty it looks. Like, it just has that really rough and almost ugly look to the texturing to the skin, which is pretty much exactly how the Triceratops was portrayed in 1 million years BC, but also just, again, exactly how dinosaurs in general were portrayed back then, like giving you that incredibly nice, awesome, vintage, old school feel for the Triceratops. And honestly, I have never seen a more perfect interpretation of a vintage Triceratops than what I'm seeing here from this Star Ace Toys version, obviously replicating the 1 million years BC Triceratops created by Ray Harryhausen, and it is just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. Honestly, if you're a fan of dinosaurs, like vintage dinosaurs like I am, it is breathtaking without question. Like, it really has just honestly blown me away here at first glance. So let's go ahead, get a closer look right now. So of course we're going to start by looking at the Triceratops, and the Triceratops again just is so perfectly done. Like, the coloration is picture perfect, the application of the paint is picture perfect. Like, it just looks so natural on the figure overall. You can see straight away that we have some really nice detailing here in the beak, as well as some very nice coloration with kind of like this darker gray, but it transitions very smoothly to a version of brown, almost like a tannish brown out here, or like a khaki, as you lead down into the tip of the beak. But in general, the beak is so insanely well done. Like, I just love the edge right here along the edge of the beak, because there's so many imperfections in it, and again, it just gives you that really gritty feel of how dinosaurs were portrayed when 1 million years BC was created. So it's just so perfect as far as that goes. You can see the tongue inside the mouth there is really nicely sculpted, definitely has some nice texturing to it, but on top of having some really nice texturing to it, it definitely appears to have some really nice coloration to it. Beautiful, very realistic tones of color, as well as like numerous different tones of color included in there. And even the inside of the mouth has that kind of dirty like look. You can see the inside of the mouth on the upper side as well, but not quite as easily. And you can see that as well as very highly detailed and also painted in a very realistic way, again replicating what exactly I would expect to see on the inside of a mouth of an animal like this. So insanely realistic as far as the paint application goes. And of course we have a really nice gloss coat in there so that it has that genuine wet look for that extra added bit of realism. You can see the nostrils sculpted out up here on the snout. As you move up into the face of our Triceratops, there are so many like creases in the skin, again showing off some very nice movement to our Triceratops. You can see like osteoderms and stuff picking up, and that's something that is very abundant. Almost the entire scaling of this figure, it looks like large osteoderms. And you can see the eyes are beautifully painted as well, very nicely painted with a nice dark brown pupil, very large pupil, and a yellowish eye. And they as well have a very, very nice looking gloss coat to them. As you can see here, as I turn it, you can see the light kind of shining off of it, just giving it a very realistic appearance as far as the eye goes. The horns as well are incredibly well done from, of course, the detailing standpoint, but also the paint application standpoint. You can see they all start out with a darker coloration here at the base of the horns, and then transition again in an incredibly smooth way to a tannish type of a color as you lead out into the tip, but it continues to have kind of like areas of that darker color that runs along the course of the horns, so it has like a very nice weathered appearance and kind of just generally like a dirty look. And you can see that here on the horns up here on the top of the head as well. Like, it's so insanely appealing to the eye as far as the actual paint application goes, and again very reminiscent, picture perfect I would say, to the way that the Triceratops appears in 1 million years BC. And on top of that, they also have a bit of a gloss coat, obviously not quite as glossy as you would see in the mouth or on the eye, but again, like that picture perfect glossy look to them as far as what you would expect to see on like the horns of a ceratopsian. So Star Ace Toys has really gone the extra mile as far as giving you not only an incredible model, but a lot of added realism to the model, even on something that obviously isn't very realistic overall as far as how we portray Triceratops currently. But again, I'm a huge fan of vintage dinosaurs. It's what I grew up on, so any vintage dinosaur is a win to me, but this is easily one of the nicest I've ever seen. I also love the way that they have the eyes, like the detail around the eyes, kind of almost squinty a little bit. He just looks genuinely angry, which is something that you would expect to see on this Triceratops, considering the scene that it is taken from. He's fighting a Ceratosaurus in that scene, so he obviously would mean business, and that's exactly what we see here on the face of this Triceratops. The detailing up here on the top of the snout is beautiful as well, incredibly nice skin texture, and the paint application is so insanely nice, as the majority of the body is like a really dark, kind of a grayish coloration, but they've dry brushed a lot of it out, and they dry brushed it with like so many different tones. Like, there's areas of like lighter gray dry brushing, but also areas of like variations of brown, which you can see up here has been dry brushed, and you continue to see that kind of brownish dry brushing up here into the frill of our Triceratops, and up here you have some very large scale detail, again, exactly like it looks in the film, and again, that very gritty feel up here as well. You can also see the spikes that run along the frill. They do tend to have a bit of a glossy look, just like the horns do up here on the head of the Triceratops. And if we take a nice look at it from the front, you can see how insanely grumpy the Triceratops looks, but also just generally how awesome it looks. And then the opposing side of the head as well just looks phenomenal. The detailing aspect is superb in every area, but the paint application is just as incredible. And you can see a really nice smooth transition to a brownish underbelly here and the underside of the lower jaw. You can see some really nice kind of hanging skin, lots of creasing and wrinkling going on here in the skin of the Triceratops on the underside of its neck, and you can also pick up on the throat itself right there, as well as like some large scales, kind of like osteoderms and stuff picking up. But as you get here closer to the beak in the lower jaw, you can see how nice and fine the scale detail gets as well. So it just looks super nice there as well. Once we actually lead up into the body of our Triceratops, again, we don't have much of a neck displayed because that's one thing that you usually didn't see very often portrayed on ceratopsians. When this film was a hit, you didn't see much of a neck displayed on Triceratops, and the frill in general is really obscuring the neck, so you don't see too much detailing in general in the neck region of our Triceratops. But as you move back up here into the body, you can see some beautiful creasing to the skin right here up in the shoulder area, some very nice muscle definition displayed right here in this area of the Triceratops' leg, and then you can see how the foot is picking up off of the ground. Very nice paintwork again throughout the entire model, and you have those really nicely painted nails here on the front of the foot, painted with a dark gray and also given a nice dry brushing, and they do also have a bit of a glossy look to them, like you would expect to see. I also like that when this model was created, we always kind of had dinosaurs perceived with their legs out in a very lizard-like position where they were kind of spread out away from the body, and that as well is perfectly displayed in the sculpt of this Triceratops. Leading back up into the stomach region, again, you can see how insanely nice the actual texturing to the model is. Again, if you go back to 1 million years BC and you take a look at the Triceratops from that film, you're really going to see how insanely nice this looks in comparison to the actual Triceratops it's replicating from the film. Like, they captured, again, I've said it numerous times at this point, the gritty feel of that Triceratops, and they've brought it to life perfectly in this model. But you can, on top of seeing that very large kind of rugged scale detail here to the figure, you can also see a nice transition to that brownish coloration that shows up here in the stomach region as well, and then of course runs to the underbelly. Really nice skin wrinkling and stuff going on, showing some beautiful movement in our Triceratops. You've also got the kneecap present back here, which is nicely visible. You can see the hip bone a little bit right there, but you can also just generally see how large and immense the thigh region of the Triceratops is, as well as the very nice muscle definition there. And then you lead down into the foot. Again, the foot looks really nice, just like the front foot did. Nails are painted beautifully, again, giving a bit of a glossy look. And then we lead out here into the tail. And of course, our Triceratops has its tail down on the ground, dragging like you would expect it to see from this day and age of dinosaur films when this movie was made. And you can see that the actual texturing and everything looks nice in the skin back here. The paintwork as well is just top notch, and you have lots of creasing and everything going on throughout the entire tail down there. If you take a look at the upper side, again, you can pick up on like some of those osteoderms and stuff. As you lead up here into the back, you can see almost like some scoots that run along the spinal column, as well as just generally like the upper back of the Triceratops. They're pretty much everywhere on the back of this figure, and the paintwork is so nice. Like, it looks very lifelike on this figure. And then if you look up here in the back of the frill, you do have some more really nice detailing back there, as well as some nice dry brushing to really make that detail pop back there as well. Now over here on the opposing side, you can again see more of those skin wrinkles there in the neck, but you can also see that this leg is planted into the ground quite nicely, and the legs are spread apart a lot further than what you had seen on the previous side. You can see more of like those wrinkles and creasing going on up here in the base of the front leg right there. As you lead down into the leg, you can get a good idea again of the muscle definition, as well as the elbow present right there. The foot sculpt looks really nice. Again, beautifully painted nails, glossed just like we've seen on every foot so far. Over here, you can see how the skin is stretching apart, with the skin stretching off of that leg and this leg here in the back. So that shows off the movement yet again very nicely of the Triceratops, and you can see more of that brownish coloration as you lead up into the grayish body of our Triceratops. And then again, the hip bone is a bit present right there, but not super visible. As you lead down into the rear leg, you can see the, again, immense appearance to that thigh, as well as just generally like some muscle definition back here as you lead down into the foot. Again, the foot looks really nice. You have the ankle and everything back here nicely displayed in the sculpt, and then you lead out the length of the tail. Looks absolutely awesome, just like we had seen on the previous side. And if you look at the underside again, we have that really nice brownish coloration. Appears to have kind of like a gray wash included as well, and the detailing here also sports some really nice dry brushing on the underside in every area, honestly. So it really just shows you how far they go to give you the best possible product, because even the underside is painted with the utmost amount of care and love. So this Triceratops is without question the definitive version of a 1 million years BC Triceratops. So perfect. And then of course we have the rocky kind of, it's not really a base, it's just kind of a stand that goes with the Triceratops to give you the 1 million years BC logo, which looks absolutely awesome. But the actual stones and everything, the kind of rocky area around it, is really beautifully sculpted, very lifelike as far as the appearance goes. The 1 million years BC logo really stands out with that very nice goldish coloration, but the rocks and everything around it look great as far as the sculpt, but also the paintwork, as you have some variation of color with different variations of grays and browns, giving it a very realistic and dirty appearance. And then the underside, of course, has 1 million years BC Triceratops statue right there. Very nice looking on the underside, as well as some of those kind of softer circles to make sure it stays in place and it doesn't damage whatever you put it on. And then as far as the base for Raquel Welch, you can see that again, the earthy area is beautifully done, but the paintwork honestly on this area as well is so realistic. Like, you can see so many different tones of color included. It appears as though they've applied some really nice washes and stuff. So it just honestly looks insanely lifelike. Like, it almost looks like they just added a genuine piece of the earth here. And you can see there is quite a bit of vegetation and stuff around, which the vegetation as well is beautifully painted with quite a few different tones of color and different variations of greens and even kind of like yellowish greens included. So it all has such a really nice, very high quality look to it. Like, nothing on this set looks even remotely close to cheap. It all genuinely looks as high quality as it gets, and just as perfect as the promotional images had shown us. And then of course you also have kind of a rocky area back here once you get past the vegetation and stuff, which is painted a little differently than the stand that went with the Triceratops, as you see a little bit more brown, I would say, on these rocks as opposed to a little bit more gray on the 1 million years BC stand. But it looks beautiful, very realistic. Again, if you come around the back, you can see how insanely nice it looks back here as well. Again, insanely lifelike as far as the appearance goes. It just looks so realistic overall, so it's just amazing to me. And then on the underside you have 1 million years BC, of course the Star Ace logo and more of those circles, so it looks super nice. And then as we bring up our Raquel Welch figure, you can see that she looks beautiful, not just because of the fact that she is a beautiful girl, but also because of the fact that the model itself is beautifully done. And looking at it here, like, it really impresses me how good of a job that Star Ace does on the actual, like, skin tone. Like, you can see so subtle with the way they've done it, but so many different variations of color included in her skin tone, and that is exactly what you would see on a real living human being. So it genuinely makes it look almost like it is a real live living human being here in my hand. It is painted so realistically. Up here on the top of the head, the actual detailing to the hair is really nicely done. There's actually some variation of color included in the blonde locks of our Raquel Welch as well, and you can see some really nice, again, movement shown in the hair as the hair is kind of flopping up and stuff as she looks on in fear at what is occurring in front of her, which would be a terrifying battle of two prehistoric giants going at it. And again, from a detailing standpoint, like, it looks so nice. Even her actual clothing is really beautifully sculpted. Like, you could see so many imperfections to it, like you do see in the film. You can see like tears in her outfit, and you can also just see like a really nice weathered appearance to the outfit as far as the actual paint application goes. Again, with like a very dirty look. Same deal down here as you get to the lower part of her garment. You can see like wrinkles and everything going on down there, as well as the really nice looking, very realistic paint application. Same deal if you look here in the front. Again, all of it is just beautifully sculpted as far as her actual clothing goes. The wrinkles and everything, the creasing, it is all shown off perfectly, and all of the paint application is so on point as far as the way that they've done this. There's like no sloppiness, like just absolutely zero sloppiness to the paint application. And you would think with like the clothing and then having areas of like her skin and stuff poking through, there would be a lot of room for error, but you don't find that on this model. As far as her actual face goes, again, the eyes are painted beautifully, as are the lips. You've got the eyebrows and everything up there. And she just looks insanely lifelike overall as she holds her hand up toward her face, obviously almost in shock at what is occurring before her. But you can also see the really nice skin tone up here on her face again. And you can check out even like her footwear looks really nice, very weathered appearance to that as well, just like you see on her outfit everywhere else. So this model is absolutely awesome and the perfect addition to this Triceratops, and again, just topping off the set overall and just making the entire thing a must-have. And then once you look at the two together, like, it's so cool, like really completing the entire diorama, the scene here before us, and it just looks fantastic seeing both the Raquel Welch figure and the Triceratops together. Like, just an unbelievably awesome diorama here created, which will only get better with the release of their Ceratosaurus, which again, I think would be the next one, or there might be, you know, another one in between. I'm not 100% sure, but I really cannot wait for the release of the Ceratosaurus to complete this diorama here. And of course, we already have a Tumok from the Allosaurus release, so you could always bring the Tumok figure in and apply it here, because in the scene where the Triceratops and the Ceratosaurus are fighting, Tumok is included in that scene as well. So again, you could complete that entire scene, but this looks so awesome together. Now, as far as a size for our Raquel Welch, if we actually take her off of the base and we get a legit height on her alone, you are looking at about a little over 5 3/4 inches, closing in on 6 inches, or about the 14.5, maybe closing in on 15 actually, centimeters for a height on her. And then for her actual base, if we reposition the camera to show you this, for the actual base, as far as like a width goes from the stone here to the front, you are looking at, again, actually closing in on about 4 3/4 inches this time, or about 12 centimeters. And then if we go in this direction, about the, I would say 5 1/4 inch range, or about the 13.5 centimeter area. There's not really too much as far as this one goes. We can go for like a height, which is going to give you about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. And then if we go for like a width this way, about the 3-inch range, or 7.5 centimeters. But of course, the Triceratops is going to be the beast as far as a size goes in this showing. So for a length on our Triceratops, it's a little tough, honestly, to do because of the legs being out so far. It's really hard to judge exactly where the tail ends. But I would say, honestly, it's about 16 1/4 inches, or around 41 centimeters in length. And the highest point is definitely the hip area of our Triceratops. And that area alone here would be about the 6-inch range, or about 15, maybe a little bit over 15 centimeters. Hard to tell from your vantage point, but I could accurately see it here in person. So for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line in comparison to our Star Ace Toys Triceratops model. And you can see that as far as these guys go, they are way smaller than everything else that you see here, especially when it comes to a comparison between Raquel Welch and Robert Muldoon. You can see that the scale is super off. But even as far as the Triceratops goes, you can see they are quite tiny. And taking Mr. Papo T-Rex into consideration over here, who is a pretty large figure himself, he's much smaller than the Triceratops, and you can see as he hides behind the Triceratops here, hoping he never sees him. And again, showing you that the Triceratops is absolutely massive. So this Star Ace Toys 1 million years BC model set is just beautiful. Like, they have hit the nail right on the head as far as this release goes, and honestly covered every base that they possibly could as far as giving you that awesome nostalgic feel of this dinosaur and of this scene from the film. Like, they captured it perfectly throughout. If you look at Raquel Welch, just in general, she is perfect as far as the model goes. Like, the positioning of her body, the appearance to her hair, her outfit, her skin tone, like everything looks so good on her, and really, again, takes you straight back to 1 million years BC and pretty much exactly how she looked in that film. And you also have a beautiful base underneath her for her to stand on, so that you can kind of have her almost trapped in her own bubble of time from 1 million years BC. And the base is beautiful, pretty much just as nice as the Raquel Welch figure herself. You could see so much really nice detail included, as well as incredibly realistic paintwork. So the entire appearance of the Raquel Welch and base model is just so high quality, and overall an excellent addition to this set. And then of course you have the Triceratops and the little 1 million years BC stand that it comes with, and that stand is really cool. It's nothing over the top amazing, but it's beautifully painted and really gives off that 1 million years BC vibe, as far as both, of course, the logo on there, but the appearance to the surroundings of the logo. It looks so cool, and honestly takes you straight to the feeling of the film with that little addition right there as well. Like, it's just a great choice on the part of Star Ace to include that, just that little thing that they've added in there with that 1 million years BC logo to really cap off the entire thing was an excellent choice on their part. And of course the Triceratops is our star of the show. He's the main attraction here, and he is beyond words beautiful. Like, they have nailed it as far as every ounce of this Triceratops. The paint application is beautiful. Like, it really looks very lifelike with the way it's applied. It looks extremely smooth as far as the transitions between colors. They've utilized dry brushing techniques throughout the entire thing in perfect fashion. Added gloss coats in the areas that needed gloss coats, and again, just made the entire model so much more realistic and lifelike due to the incredible paint application on the model. And the sculpt itself is beyond gorgeous. Again, I love the very gritty feel of the Triceratops here, as far as the way that they've sculpted it, giving it just that very rugged and tough look, as far as how this Triceratops was portrayed in 1 million years BC, and just giving it such a, almost like an ugly appearance to what some people might look at and be like, oh, that's a really ugly dinosaur. But to us fans of vintage dinosaurs, it is so far from ugly. It is just drop dead gorgeous, giving it like really cool imperfections. Like, even in the beak, like, you can see how the beak is kind of choppy as you get closer to the mouth. Like, that's such a small little added addition, but in my eyes, that's a huge added addition, because it, again, just amps the realism level of the model up so much. And they took such great care on the figure in every area, as far as the sculpting and detailing aspect, even on the underside. Just like with the underside, you see the beautiful paint application like you see everywhere else. Like, they didn't skimp out in any area on this model, and it shows, and on top of showing beautifully, it pays off beautifully, as the final product is beyond a win, if you ask me. So if you are interested in picking this up, and it is a gigantic recommendation from me, especially if you are a fan of vintage dinosaurs, or specifically 1 million years BC, this is a must-have in any collection for sure. Make sure you head to the link in the description, and you head on over to Sideshow.com, where this is still available to purchase as of right now, and you can pick yourself up this fantastic 1 million years BC Triceratops diorama. So again, make sure you check the link in the description, buy this fantastic set, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.